know this. We'll switch over to bodybuilding now. I don't know if you know,
Yes.
but you've actually got a pretty good fan base here in Canada amongst Canadian bodybuilders.
Well, as you probably know, I was myself an amateur bodybuilder. My first actual professional trainer was Guru Ameen's brother, who is, I refer to as the dumber brother. But anyway, he's not a bad fellow, but he's not the genius that Guru Ameen is. I mean, there's nobody on the face of the planet who knows more about pharmacology and particularly the specifics of the healing power of cannabis than my friend here. And beyond that, he has developed a number of exercise techniques, nutritional advice, tight dieting, special rotations. This man knows more about water depletion than anyone in America. When I followed the sport, it was in the day. I mean, Flex Wheeler was Mr. Olympia at the time. And my favorite all-time bodybuilder was Francois Benfado, who was a relatively small guy, but whose symmetry was incredible. This was just prior to the period in which the two brothers who essentially owned the Muscle and Fitness franchise decided to let human growth hormone turn all bodybuilders into refrigerators. So you have a chain of champions, an Englishman whose name escapes me, who
Door 88, yeah.
Yes, who's big, but there's nothing pleasing about what he's got going on. But size becomes the thing.
Yeah.
And bodybuilding, I think, spins out of control. Now we seem to have returned to a more careful emphasis of symmetry, of muscle density. I think bodybuilding today is, at least theoretically, more of a science than it was in that middle period. So it's kind of back to the old days. Of course, I think we all recognize that the advances in the development of various steroids that weren't available, in the days of Steve Reeves and some of the early bodybuilders, has turned out some real freaks, but used properly. I think many athletes use them. They're illegal. I've never done them, but I do think that if you're going to compete, it's impossible to compete without them. My own sister was a professional bodybuilder, tried very hard to get her pro card, won a series of contests in Hawaii, but she had the same deficiency I did in the size of her biceps. I can do curls all day, but they don't grow. But she refused to go on the juice, particularly in the women's sport where the square jaw and the deep voice is kind of a giveaway. I think that both degraded and hurt the sport. And it's also the whole women's fitness thing where they're turning out these women who look like men is concurrent with the Dorian Yates period of what men's bodybuilding is like. And then somebody wisely says, maybe this women's bodybuilding thing is not so good. Why don't we cancel that and move to women's fitness, where women look like beautiful women again, which is somebody had some marketing sense. So I have followed the sport. I've been particularly interested in the guy who won the super heavyweight category at the Nationals last year, who competes under the name Big Bundy. This guy is a walk-on. He's a natural star. He's got no advantages. He works as a Baltimore City corrections officer. He works a full schedule. He's training on his own time. He is not backed by any supplement company. He has no sponsors. I mean, I've had some T-shirts made for him because I like him, and I admire his grit. The guy's a giant. I mean, he came out of nowhere to win the super heavyweights. He was a definite contender at the Tampa Pro. I was scheduled to go, but as you know, my wife is fighting stage 4 cancer. She really could not be without me for the weekend. I even had my suit picked out. I mean, I was very disappointed I couldn't go, but everybody I know is talking about Big Bundy, who I think will never be overlooked again. I mean, the guy's he's an extraordinary athlete. He's got in my old trainer, Rod Smith, another guy I trained with, and Ameen. He's got the best two guys in the business. Rod is a guy with very deep knowledge of bodybuilding. He's been around a long time. He's strategic in his thinking. He's extremely disciplined himself. He's in amazing shape. I wish I had looked that good when I was that age. And I think he's got a great mind meld with the athlete, which is crucial. I mean, the poor guy's busting his ass every day, doing a full-time job, getting ready to get a shot at being Mr. Olympia. It's an incredible sport.
No sleep.
And then of course he has the doctor, as we call him, and his strategies for diet, nutrition, supplements, and so on. So this guy's going to be a champion. It's only a matter of time. And what's interesting to me is while he's not known widely, although there's now ripples, I think, in the bodybuilding world, everybody in the Haitian American community knows who he is. And they're very proud. I mean, these are people who went through 2 earthquakes, the complete rip-off of all the earthquake money. Their homeland is a sewer, and it's been ravaged. There's widespread child sex trafficking coming out of Haiti. Everything there is epically corrupt. Suddenly, this guy comes out of somewhere, and he's a competitor. So he's a great ray of hope. I have Haitian friends who went out and bought T-shirts with this guy's picture on it. After he won his pro card at the Nationals. So I think great things are going to come of him. I confess to you, I don't follow the sport the way I used to. I'm very, very disappointed in Arnold. I mean, Arnold.
Yes.
Arnold.
A lot of people are, Roger.
Arnold is a guy who I've met several times. Obviously, he said he was a quote. He said, and I quote, "I'm proud to be a Reagan Republican." Pumping iron. He talks about the inspiration of coming to America and the opportunity that America affords you that his homeland doesn't. And now suddenly, since he's got his mansion and his Rolls Royce and everything else he wants, he doesn't think we should have any freedom. It's very disappointing, but this is not new. I mean, Arnold was for many years a solid and outspoken conservative. After he became governor, it became very clear that if he wanted to have a career in Hollywood and still make movies or still make money on entertainment, he was going to have to go woke left. And it was easier to switch than fight. And I'm sure he still has a big mansion in Hollywood somewhere. The point is, it's very disappointing that he would do this. And I had already heard that last year at the Arnold Classics, that he couldn't be bothered to have pictures taken. He basically wouldn't sign autographs. Let me tell you something. I go out in public. I'm a pretty well-known guy, thanks to the people at CNN, being up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and MSNBC, and those shitheads over there. And if I go out in public and people ask for a selfie or an autograph or to do a Skype call with their Aunt Tilly back in Tulsa because she loves you, I always say yes. I know that if 65,000 individual Americans hadn't sent money to my legal defense fund or my family support fund, not only would I not have been able, I was gagged, I was being lynched, I was being smeared, vilified, then they gagged me before the trial, they lynched me, they leave me gagged post-conviction and before sentencing. They didn't even do that for Al Capone. I become essentially bankrupted. Then I'm censored, deplatformed, canceled. I'm terrorized. I'm attacked. Then ultimately, I'm pardoned. And then with the stunning admission by Mueller after the fact, I'm vindicated. Yeah, it's been a hell of a couple 2 years, I must tell you.
We still don't have the house, still don't have the car, still don't have, I mean, they really don't have the health insurance, and it really fucks you, man.
The health insurance, the extra insurance is a good point. But beyond that, those are material things.
I know, man.
Let's be very clear. I was handed a death sentence.
Yeah.
A death sentence. I'm 68 years old. I've had asthma my whole life. The government wants to send me to a fetid prison in rural Georgia where they insist there are no COVID-19 cases. But I know from the Prison Guards Union president that there are over 200 cases. There's no masks, there's no divisions, there's no hand wiping. It's a death sentence. But for the grace of God, I would not be with you. But I know prayer works because I was screwed. I mean, this was a lynch mob. There was no way out but through divine intervention. And I think that's why President Trump had both the courage and the strength in an election year to say this is bullshit. The whole Mueller investigation, we now know, was bullshit. I was targeted for political purposes, not because I broke the law. The left is very funny. There's two things you'll read, and as soon as you read them, you can stop reading. Whenever they say convicted felon Roger Stone, stop right there. No, my felony conviction is erased by the pardon. Or when they say self-described dirty trickster Roger Stone. No, I've never described myself that way. I've spoken about how others have described me that way. I have conceded that it'll probably be on my gravestone because I'm tattooed with it. But I got the LA Times to retract when I threatened to sue them because it's not true. Now it's ubiquitous. Any story that says those two things is biased against me. You can stop reading and just close it.
And that's a lot out there.
There's no question. There's no question. I mean, these people live in an alternative reality. They really do.
What's the future for Roger Stone? What can we expect to see from you? A lot of people want to know.
Well, I'm doing another book. As you know, I've written 5 books.
I know. Look, I've known you since I was 19, but for everybody else who's out there, let them know.
I understand. So I've written 5 books, but I'm writing another book. This one is called Roger Stone Did Nothing Wrong. By the way, if you want one of those classic, iconic Roger Stone Did Nothing Wrong t-shirts that I was arrested in when the FBI stormed my home at 5 a.m., you can get that. I'm going to check this at fightback. Look it up. It's either shop or store. Give us a second. We're in the process of transferring this over. If you want to catch up with what I'm doing, go to stonecoldtruth.com. That's where I talk about politics. I post videos. I also aggregate some news.
Are your books available on stonecoldtruth.com?
I'm not certain. They're in the process of being loaded into the store. I'll tell you what is available. Hold on here. We'll do a little graphic. Your actual Roger Stone. Now, this is a stone, which is an exact historic replica of the very stone little David used to take down Goliath.
I knew you were going to say that.
And you can get your very own copy. It's a paperweight, by the way. We don't urge you to throw this at anyone. It's designed to be a paperweight or a good luck charm for ladies. You can throw that in your purse. We have some larger stones available. You can get these in the store at stonecoldtruth.com. Now, this product grew out of a practical joke, meaning I was out running one day, tried to do cardio every other day as much as I despise it. And I saw that my next door neighbor had these beautiful white crushed stones put in his driveway. So I took one and I wrote my name on it. And I said to my wife, "Hey, do you know what this is?" She said, "What's that?" I said, "It's a Roger Stone." And she said,
"That's pretty good."
She said, "Get out of here." So I started selling online, and you know what? Nobody was buying them. I mean, nobody. And then one day, out of the blue, CNN, Rolling Stone, the New York Observer, all attacked me for selling these stones. I sold 5,000 in 2 days with the money going to my legal defense fund. They cost me roughly 37 cents a piece. I sell the 2 sizes. There's the regular, and then there's the Premier, which is a black stone with a silver signature, a little larger. And you can get those at stonecoldtruth.com in the shop. Also, autographed copies of my actual pardon. I've taken my formal pardon, which I will sign for you, and you can get those at Stone's Cold Truth. Now, coming soon, my very own Stone Cold Vodka. I'm bringing to America one of the greatest European-made vodkas, a brand that sells in Europe. It's the #3 brand. They're not in the U.S. market, so they are essentially white labeling it for me, as it were. Stone Cold vodka. This stuff is not swill. This blows Tito's, which I like, American-made, blows it away. So, and then of course my Stone Cold cigars. Dark Nicaraguan blend in 4 different sizes. Who knows where we go from there? My Stone Cold cologne occurs to me. Unlike Alex Jones, who I love, I'm not going to try to sell you health supplements or protein powder or body armor. I'm going to sell you things that are associated with me: vodka, cigars, suspenders, spectacles, cologne, cufflinks, and so on. We'll see how it goes.
Roger, do we expect to see the vodka in Canada and the cigars in Canada?
Well, I understand it all has to do with your internet settings, but yes, you can sell products through PayPal, particularly in other countries. I have all my settings in the past to try to seal off customers, that is to say, hackers from Russia or China. You couldn't, if you were from one of those countries, you couldn't donate to my legal defense fund. But that's a software issue that I'm sure can be addressed. As far as Canada is concerned, I really like this fellow Derek Sloan. I really think he's a man of courage and a man of honor. He's a man of sanity, a man who realized that, sadly, the Tory party, the Conservative Party in Canada, is basically a pale pastel image of the Liberal Party of the worst premier in history, little Trudeau. As Nixon correctly said, his father was an asshole and the kid's an asshole.